radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Well. Good evening. How you doing? Yeah, it's Wednesday, December 17th, 2025, a day that shall remain in infamy. December 17th. Wow, what a day. What a week here on Fade to Black. Absolutely amazing. And it's always great around here. I really mean that. But this is our 12th anniversary week. 12 years on the air, heading into year number 13. I don't know what this episode number is tonight, but it's a lot. I don't know, 2,200 something tonight. and we're celebrating. So another great week. I want to remind everybody how fantastic it was this week. Monday night, we had Kimberly Meredith here, and she's just absolutely amazing. Last night, Richard Dolan joined us, another great open conversation. And tonight, Sarah Elkhaldy is with us, and Spiritual Alchemy tonight. Yeah, man, I need some of that. And then tomorrow night, to wrap up the week, it's our 12th anniversary special event. We have an anniversary show every year. Tomorrow night, we're going to do that. Tomorrow night, we're going to do that a little bit different. Instead of having, 6, 8, 10, 12 guests come parading through and doing their thing, which is always fun, I wanted to do something different this year. I wanted to hang out with you, the Fadernauts, and just do a hangout. And yeah, AMA, just let the conversations go where they go. And I'm sure you guys are going to ask me, who my favorite guest was my favorite show, who do I want to interview, who didn't I interview, what's my favorite subject, what's my favorite UFO case, life after death. We're going to do all of the Bigfoot and just hang out. All right, we're going to do this for me. That's what I want to do. And dang it, it's my show. It's my show. Do what I want. Yeah. Like right now, and mention my next event, which is coming up. It is the Conscious Life Expo, February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. The links for that are below. This is, just another 12. I think this is the 12th year I've hosted the Conscious Life Expo. The expo and the team and everything, it's just one big happy family. It's absolutely amazing. And we've got a bunch of very special things this year, including we're going to do a play. It's called Judgment Day. We have 3 actors in the play. It's Danny and Brinkley, Debbie Dashinger, and myself. It's the 3 of us. Just a straight up play. And we've got a stage, we've got makeup, just production. It's really, really cool. And we're going to do that on Saturday night. And it's such an honor, for that. I would think that, when this is how life works, right? So you hear about a play, you hear about a new team being put together, you hear about it, you're like, man, I wonder if they're going to pick me. And you don't get picked. And, and you watch everybody else do it and it's fine. But, it was crazy. I get the email and I get the phone call. It's like, you want me to do what? You want me to act? Oh, man. You know what their answer was? You act every night on the show. I was like, yeah, I guess that's true. Jimmy, we're going to put some makeup on you. We're going to turn you into an alien and just be yourself. Okay, I can do that. So that's going to be Saturday night, Judgment Day. So get your tickets for the Conscious Life Expo at the LAX Hilton. Come and hang out with us. My luncheon. I don't know if that's sold out yet, but if you want to come and hang out, that is always a great bunch of fun. Okay. All right. With that, let's get this cracking. I just spent way too much time talking about myself. Yeah. Sarah Elkhaldy is with us tonight. The show is called The Alchemist because she is. All right. We're going to talk about her teachings, how to navigate the most obscure, the subtle, the powerful parts of the spiritual alchemy. We're going to do all of that tonight. The transformation of the mind, body, emotions, and soul. I need a load of that. So if I get a load of that tonight, so will you. She is a spiritual teacher. She's got a very, very big online community. You can click. You can check out and click on the link below and head over and check out everything that she's got going on. She's another team member over at Gaia with me, and she is amazing. I've been following her for a while. I would like to welcome to the show Sarah Elkhaldy. She's right there. Sarah, what's going on? Hey, look what I got.
What?
Church coffee. See? Isn't that cool?
Man, you make your own coffee?
I do. No, I don't. I can't roast coffee. But yeah, somebody makes it for me.
That is so cool.
Yeah, River Moon Coffee makes it. But you know what's great about this? I'm serious. Okay. Let me tell everybody what happened earlier, just so they're like, "Where's this coming from?" So Sarah goes, "Man, you remind me of coffee in a coffee shop." And what was the name of the coffee shop?
Rad Coffee.
Rad Coffee. And I go, "Really?" I go, I make my own coffee. She goes, "What?" She didn't believe me. So I just went and grabbed a bag so you could see it. And I got to tell you, when I got my first, I've been doing this now for probably almost 10 years. But when I got my first batch, which I still have, they sent me a case of coffee. And leading up to that, they were sending me samples, and I was changing the blend and the roast and, making it mine. And we finally got it dialed, and they sent me my first bag. I have that on display. I have the first bag, but when I looked at it, I went, "Mom, I did it." I've got my own coffee. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So, welcome. You get, Sarah, the first time guest disclaimer, and I can't believe this is the first time you're on the show, but you're here now. You get the first time guest disclaimer, which is this. Sarah, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. And where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we're going to end as friends. That's the disclaimer, but you have to accept so we can move on with the show.
I accept.
That was easy. Before I lob you a softball and get this thing going, you and I are neighbors. I don't want to give too much away, but
yeah. Don't.
No. Trust me. I won't do that. But Southern California is a trippy place to grow up, isn't it? And you get to meet just about any type of person, individual, soul, right? This is a melting pot of things. Pretty great place to grow up, isn't it?
Oh, I love it. And I grew up on the borderline of Inland Empire, so I could choose to be many things, I guess. And so I grew up with kind of like AFI as one of my staple things inside my high school experience. And so that's another thing you kind of remind me of. You kind of remind me of AFI.
Really? Well, that's good.
Yeah. Oh, to me, that's the highest honor.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Have you been there?
To a concert of AFI's?
Yes.
I went to one actually, yeah, at Universal Studios. It was one
Oh,
of the best shows I've ever seen.
right. And here's okay. All right. You'll get this. The audience, well, some of the audience, of course, is from Southern California. Here's the crazy thing. Here in California, in LA County. Now she just mentioned the Inland Empire. So we have these little clicks that go on here, and it's really clicky. It can be very clicky. It's very
Yes.
clicky. And if you're in LA County, all you do is crack Orange County jokes, and Orange County's down there. And we've got the Inland Empire, and then we've got Bakersfield and these Hollywood, and everybody talks a little bit of smack, because even though all of these cities and towns that we're talking about all touch each other, there's only a street dividing one town to the next. But when you cross the street, you're in a different thing. It's bizarre. And so the Inland Empire to LA has always been like, the more you go like east, the more countrified it is, right? It's a different sophistication that they would like to think than Marina Del Rey, right? Or Santa Monica. And it's trippy, isn't it? That we actually have that here. People think that LA is just LA. It's not, man.
No.
Everything is so different depending on how far you go. And it could be just a couple of blocks. It's great. I love that part of it.
Yeah, and San Francisco always thinks that we care about what they're doing, and we don't. Every time I've met a San Francisco person, they're like, "Oh, I know the rivalry." And I'm like, "What rivalry? LA does not care."
We barely know. Here's the thing, and my family lives up in San Francisco, and I give them shit all the time. Here's the thing. In LA, we barely know that there's a city up there.
Yeah.
Barely.
Facts. Like I forget, like once every 5 years I remember.
If they only knew. And you go up there and you say you're from LA, man, the dude shows up, and you just, and they think it's reciprocal, like it
And
goes
it's not.
both ways. No,
Like I love them, but I don't remember them.
I remember the first time, we got to get into the mystic stuff, because I could stay on this subject all day long.
Okay.
But the first time I went to San Francisco, and I was so excited, I went to Haight-Ashbury, and my family's taking me around, and I went up there for Christmas, and so they took me to the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge, to this viewing point up on this hill, and I was up there in the coldest wind I have ever felt. It was ice cold. And I'm up there, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, San Francisco sucks. Why would anybody live here? And that was my first impression, and it's never really changed. I visit and drive through, but nah, it's just not my cup of tea. It's just not my cup. We barely know there's a city up there. It's so funny.
Yeah. We love you guys. We do. We love you guys. We do. We forget. That's all.
Some of the most amazing food, San Francisco, but it's not enough for me. It's not enough. It's not enough. But also in LA, there is a mix of, and I'm talking about you now, where you have people that work, they're in the film industry, they're serious about careers and everything. And then there's another side of LA that is very, very spiritual and very, very free thinking. Did you wander into that group growing up, or did you find that group later?
I found the group definitely later, because I wasn't like living in the heart. I didn't grow up in the heart of LA. And so once I realized that LA was cool and I started going there intentionally. I was inside what was considered the Venice Beach scene. And that's like the hipster hippie. It's like a hybrid. It's a hybrid of hipster and hippie scene. And that was very cool. And it was highly spiritual.
Oh, very.
It was
Very.
like the cool people of spirituality.
Yeah, I lived in Venice Beach for a couple of years, and with my daughters and my then wife, and I loved it until I didn't.
Yeah.
It was really, I just got my fill of it because it is so. It's 24-hour fun, right? But it's also very, very intense, and there's a weird mix of big money, right? And hippies. It's like, and they
Exactly.
coexist. Yeah, it's bizarre. And I miss it, but I don't. I love going there. I love Venice. And but yeah, so you got wrapped up in that's pretty spiritual. Venice
It
is
was a vibe. It was
yeah.
such a vibe. I look back and I only have endearment for that. But it was also very isolating because they were more like, let's call it I just to be brief, Kundalini or more like highly spiritual. And if you talked about real spiritual stuff, that was a no-no. And so it was like cool, but as long as you treated it as it was stifling after a while. I had to outgrow it to actually just become more of myself.
Yeah, it was the same thing for me. It became stifling. It just became a bit much. Plus, here's the other thing about Venice that makes it so powerful. There's a lot of people that live in that little tiny town, right?
Oh,
It's a beach community. It's impossible to get into and out of, especially on the weekends. The traffic, the insanity, and everybody is so spiritual and so strong that it's high vibe all the time. And sometimes I like to go low vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you like yeah.
Sometimes I want to do some crazy stuff, and that's just me. But it's because it's so concentrated. You know what? You feel it. You feel the vibe there.
Well, for me, it was more like I needed support, not just, community. So the support systems there were so blended in with like what I would consider, and I don't say this in a mean way, but the problem. So it's like the next person that, you find yourself going to a really cool kind of like a community event to, let's say like a vacation somewhere for Thanksgiving or something like that. Find out is like the producer of something that's 2 degrees away from people who from celebrities that you might not really resonate with. Let's put it that way. And so it was one of those things where literally, if I wanted to kind of be in my own integrity of what I was learning, what I was applying, what I was perceiving, then I wouldn't want to be in such a support system that really would just be very shallow and is all about kind of like, I guess you could call it the look and the appearance of it. But then at the end of the day, they don't care about, like if humans are suffering somewhere or something like that. And so I'm being very generic, and I don't want to paint the whole scene that way because there's definitely a lot of heart in there. But I think we're all coming to like a huge, not just Venice Beach. Venice Beach would be the microcosm.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all coming to like a huge realization of what's performance within us. And so even those same people have their own journey, and they probably have grown and realized where they were being, performative and where they are, can be more true. But it was definitely a vibe that I hold dear to my heart.
When did you? I can kind of, for me, and I'm always interested in this question because I can look back. You bring up the journey. The journey is very important. And no matter what happens on your journey, no matter what, good, bad, horrible, fantastic, you are where you are right now. The journey got you here. And I know that sounds so general, right? It sounds so generic, but it's really, really true. So I can go back and I can pinpoint these key times in my life where I suddenly started taking right turns and moving in a certain direction. Did you have those moments too where you just went, okay, this is the beginning of the path?
Too many times.
I know, right? Yeah,
I
yeah,
really
yeah.
could just carve out a beginning at any point of just a giant block of clay.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
It's also beautiful because it makes us, back to the thing about like whatever part of the journey we're at right now, the things that got us there got us there. And you had made it sound kind of like it was a platitude, but it's actually very true. Those things mold us in very real ways that maybe not fully mold, meaning like, wow, I changed, but they also show you what's innately what is natural within you. Many things in my path just showed me a mirror of who I am, because um, if it didn't shape me, if it didn't change me in some pivotal way, then it just got to show me who I am because of the choices I made naturally.
Why is it? God, that's such a good point. Why is it that we have become a culture of everything has to be instant? Order on Amazon, you get it the next day, right? And we now think that we can change our life, overnight, when it's actually a process. Like you said, there's many points along the way that you could look at. And I look at it like this, and I'm wondering if it's the same for you. If you are working on yourself, wait about 3 months and then look back and go, oh, yeah, okay, this is, oh, yes, I get it. Not an overnight thing, but, you take those chunks, these bursts of change, 3-4 months at a time, and then you look and you can actually see it and feel it. And that's the way that I look at it. Am I pretty close?
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I get energy work done on me, I just forget about it. But then I'll remember that I had energy work done on me. And so it'll be about 4 weeks after. And I'll look back and I'll see how much changed. But there wasn't really these pivotal, things happening in the moment that was like, oh my God, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm transforming. It's something that I look back in hindsight and I go, oh, I don't have those blocks anymore. Or, oh, wow, I noticed this pattern about me and I refuse to succumb to it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And so the other part of my question was, why have we evolved into this instant gratification thing? I that holds a lot of people back. They lose interest if something doesn't happen in 24 hours.
So I'm starting to just accept that there things that I said in the past are true. Sometimes I forget something that I taught, and then when I remember it, I go like, "Wow, yeah, that lady, she is smart." So my past self is sometimes like my higher self, because just recently I had this question enter my field, and I was answering it through the idea, the framework of that there are souls here that have different curriculums in one group, and then souls that have a let's call it a middle curriculum, where they could go either way about it. Like they could go more of the physical materialism lens, or they could go the spiritual, but they're more fluid. And then you have the spiritual group, let's call it. And these are very broad, so I'm not trying to make them sound like there's too many similar features, because there's always, the free will, and there's always a bunch of different factors inside there. It's not like everyone in the group I'm in I agree with, not at all. But still, there's these three larger groups. And, if we wanted to, we could probably go deeper into the subgroups, but I won't. So what you're talking about sounds like, for sure, kind of like the soul groups that just do not have an interest, let's call it. They even might have a repulsion to that depth of their soul and their own transformation. So because of that, they have a different value system that's a part of their curriculum. And because they have a different value system and they have a different thing, we're almost like in a predominant world where it's accommodating to those soul groups.
How important is it to understand who you're speaking, not you, I mean, just in general in life, who you're speaking to so you can communicate? You know what I mean? If somebody is working on themselves in one direction, or and you come in with both guns blaring in a conversation and not understanding, and suddenly you're thinking this person doesn't like me, or it's that they don't understand you, right? Or they're not relating. How important is it to understand, who it is that you're speaking to, and to understand their choices in life and their direction?
For me, it's very simple now because I've been at this a long time.
Right.
So I immediately, once I get those signals, I immediately do not fight with them, because my energy is so expensive that you would have to pay me to fight with you at this point. I have already paid my dues when it came to, we've all done the phase where we're on Facebook commenting under thing because somebody said something like defending fluoride, like in a meme. I've even, here's a perfect example in real life. I was in hipster land, the thing we were talking about, and somebody started in real life defending fluoride, going, no, they did that because of the teeth and all. And I was like, oh, no. There's some things people just are too, let's call it, they're just not open enough.
They're too taught. They're too taught.
Sure, yeah.
They've
and then
been taught, right? They're raised a certain way, and that's, they've been told things their entire life, and that's it. You're not going to reason them off of it. You just have to accept it.
Yes, and if they do, for some strange reason, because we always want to leave room open for the miraculous. If I have accidentally placed them in a grouping, a category that they don't belong, let's say I thought that they were in the sheerly materialistic mindset, but they were just behaving that way at that moment, and they're actually more in the fluid middle grounds. It would take a romantic partner. It would take somebody, because sometimes just friends or acquaintances or somebody who impacted your life is not enough. I told that one time to my friend. I said, we were talking about someone else. This isn't the same story now. We were talking about a mutual friend who just doesn't get it. They just don't get it. And I predicted something. I said, you know what? She won't listen to friends. But if a guy who she was interested in was saying this stuff, it would change her completely. And guess what happened? Like literally 2 weeks later.
I swear I know who you're talking about. I mean, don't we all have somebody like that?
Yeah.
That is just so funny.
So sometimes it takes Eros, because that's how much the shell. That's
literally,
how strong. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. That is so funny. You got an amazing smile, by the way. Amazing
thank
smile.
you.
I'm working on mine. Yeah.
But
you know what?
You already got a look, so.
It's called coffee. You know how I've changed? It's really weird. I was a happy-go-lucky, very young artist, guitar player, rock and roller. And I was so happy in that world, right? I just glowed, smiled all the time. And then I just turned into a grumpy old man. and smiling is like hard. I did this. I'm going to change cameras. I did this photo shoot for Gaia, right? Like, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. Have you done one? You've done a professional shoot there, right? Yeah. With their photographer. I forget his name. We won't say his name. Did he make you sit and talk? Did you
Oh
have the
yeah,
same?
he was
Yeah, yeah,
talking.
yeah. Okay, so that guy, right? So, and it was like 3 hours, right? This photo shoot, and
He was a director.
yeah, he in the end, he was cool. But anyway, he goes, okay, I'm going to tell a joke and just smile naturally, laugh at the joke because these are going to be funny jokes. And he tells a joke and he goes, okay, smile. I go, I am. What is it that you want? I'm laughing so hard. It was just so funny. It was just like I couldn't get it. So funny, man. I don't know how I turned into that guy. Inside, I'm laughing. I can't get like I used to when I was a kid. I smile all the time. I'm just a grumpy old man now.
See,
Now
that guy got the best smiles out of me because he was a good director. He was like saying all these like nuanced things. I was like, whoa, I think I'm like smarter now because of how he was directing it.
I got to tell you, they sent me, I don't know, maybe 100 images to look at or 50. I got to tell you, man, the guy took some good pictures.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, I didn't know. He a good photographer pulls the trigger at the right time.
Yeah.
I can't, if you're a good photographer or not. I just could not believe that I was the person in those shots. I couldn't believe it. Oh, okay. I want a definition out of you.
Mm-hmm.
What is a mystic alchemist?
Okay, so a mystic is what I would consider a more generic term, because it could mean anyone who's in mysticism. Alchemist is at the heart of all mysticism. And so I would consider alchemist a far less generic term, even though it just depends on who you're talking to. But my audience, particularly your average human being, or even your non-average, would still consider alchemists to be far more flamboyant, in my opinion, than just a mystic. And so I go by mystic, but I got the name The Alchemist, and because of that, I take it very serious. And I've been living alchemy my whole life. And so I feel like at this point, the universe is initiating me, because it's like, okay, well, it's the name. Well, now we're going to show you a deeper level of alchemy and a deeper level. And so I'm just very grateful all around. What an alchemist actually means is dependent on who you're talking to. Once again, as we're talking about the different soul groups, I noticed while having my YouTube channel that academia does not like spiritual alchemy.
Oh, at all. Oh, no.
They do not like it at all. They think that you are a charlatan. They have all of these sorts of names to categorize you because they know the most tangible forms of alchemy from their books. And even their books were using interchangeably recipes for the soul and the spirit and for metals. And so that's known by anyone really who is a true mystic. It's that these books went back and forth. So actually, where one word was being used as a code word for something deeper, it would also be able to go the opposite way too. When they were talking about a spiritual process, they were also being able to use it vice versa in the material, in the laboratory setting. And so what I always point to, if I just want like point blank period, the conversation to be done with, I say, why would it be called the divine chemistry then?
That's
if it
right.
was just talking about metals, why would it be called God's chemistry?
Here, I love this point of the conversation, because alchemy, actual alchemy, is not something you are going to research and investigate on the internet.
For sure.
It's impossible. It's that the real stuff is not there.
Yes.
The real stuff is handed down traditionally for thousands and thousands of years. And to get into the alchemical, to get into that world, you have to be invited. Those things are precious, are important, and I'm talking about the traditions, right?
Right.
And the things that are taught, and they're not for mass consumption. And so therefore, if somebody wants to know about alchemy or what an alchemist is, and they jump on the internet, you're being steered in a completely, it's not even close to what the actual world is of alchemy and what an alchemist does.
Oh, absolutely. And so much of the deep things that I have learned about alchemy through sources that aren't even that mainstream, but just me caring a lot, having a deep passion for this, has led me to even the, esoteric knowledge about it that was incomplete, and that I actually had to develop my own claircognizance about to get those missing pieces. And I'm not even claiming that I know all of the alchemy is always revealing itself more to me, but a lot of it I've had to download myself, and it's not in the public domain.
John D is still alive, right?
So okay, go on.
Have you you like that nervous laugh? Yeah,
well,
how did you know
still
that?
Alive, yeah. Okay, first we'll go there. How did you know that?
I went to a secret castle in Bavaria. You've been there, right?
No.
That's what I love about alchemy. I've got a few friends, some of them are yours. We have mutual friends that are into the subject. And when I sit down and discuss it with them, it's usually mentioned, don't talk about this to anybody, but right. We'll sit and talk. And I have never said anything on the air or to any other people. Yeah. That's what I love about alchemy. So if you're researching this on the net, whatever, go buy a book on Amazon. Yeah.
I'm not done with John D.
John D.
John D is still alive, then that meant that John D was somebody always to begin with. Yes. It's just no offense. It's not just I know that occultism in general, man, I don't know if I'm saying too much now, but I know that occultism loves John D. But to me, I'm okay, so let me get this straight. The angels told him and his.
We're gonna get in some trouble here. You really
okay? Never mind.
No. I love trouble.
All I'm saying.
But this is what I'm talking about. This is a mysterious. When people go, okay, well, how can I go to a mystery school? That's why it's called a mystery school, man.
All I'm saying is if John D is still alive, then that means he's Saint Germain.
That's another great subject right there. That's a good one. I went down that rabbit hole for probably 10 years, the Saint Germain. Yeah. And John D too. And okay. When we look, let's go back, since we're talking about John D. Let's go back a little bit further. If we go to ancient Egypt, Alexandria and before, where the footholds of this mysticism and alchemy started to not only rise in importance in Egypt, but information was coming in from other travelers around the world that were coming in and sharing their knowledge. That part of it was understood and respected, just like farmers' fields were respected, right? Alchemy was a part of society all the way through to, Isaac Newton. It was a very, very important part of every town, every village, every school. Alchemy was a foundation of culture, wasn't it?
Yeah. Alchemy also, always had those different levels. Like, for instance, there was laws in place because people were changing too much stuff into gold. So that was real. That's a real thing that would happen. And so they needed to control that. And then, but then you had also people, who's that one? I like the idea of him. He has a lot of books out on all of these different topics, but he always just comes to a very mundane conclusion about them. I forget his name, but anyways, he was saying that alchemy was, he was like, I'll give you guys credit. Like the Gnostics were saying that the spiritual dying of the things that they were doing into a resemblance of gold and then selling them was alchemical because they were making a spiritual parallel. They were saying, as we die this thing, so we're dying our soul inside this spiritual set. So, but that's just, once again, only alchemy is so deep that it's what level do we have the capacity to connect with it? Because then we'll stop there. We'll stop at, oh, this really smart guy did a bunch of research on alchemy, and he's come to the conclusion that the Gnostics were using metaphors and they were actually just using alchemical processes, more like metallurgy. That's the most common thing you'll hear, is that, oh, alchemy, no, that was just metallurgy. Did you mean metallurgy? And so it's like, what category are they in? I don't care, because at this point, if somebody does not understand the spiritual nature of reality and how alchemy is behind that, that's something that a soul, if they're listening to me say that, or you, or if you're listening to somebody say that, whoever it is, there's some things that are not like a video game where you have to start from square one and you have no memory and this is your first life. There's some concepts that are so ingrained within your journey that you'll know what somebody's talking about, and you won't need to start from whoa. Start from the first time that I was Mario in the first level. So even with me, I'm surprised I have such a large following, because I'm always trying to tune into my audience and pretend that they're at that level just for the sake of guiding them. Mm-hmm. But I get back all the time that they're like, no. I get more out of what you're saying each time I watch the same video, because it's almost like you're activating different things. Like it's almost like you're saying something new each time, even though it's the same video. And that's because it's their glory of their soul that they can see that. So when it comes to alchemy, even, I'm sorry if I've labored this.
No, point. I love this.
I shouldn't, like, somebody's just not ready. They could think I'm goofy online. They could think I'm whatever. They're just not ready for their own soul's memories, because there's just like maybe 2 deal breakers I have for teaching. And what it is that I should not have to fight for spiritual alchemy. It drains you. And that's casting your pearls of wisdom to swine. And that wasn't because these, really high level spiritual masters were trying to be mean. They weren't trying to be snobs, hipsters. They were saying it in that way for a reason. And it's because a lot of these forces work through people. And when they work through somebody, they don't care that they're draining you. They might not even know that the forces through them are draining you. They might not even know that at the end of the day, that the goal of the forces and the reason they're triggered and the reason they're doing all that is because forces beyond them are trying to drain you. And so one of the most basic things to me is, like, if you don't believe that alchemy is spiritual, then good luck to you.
Well, that's powerful. Are there, okay, so if we go back, I was going to say, are there shortcuts? But there's a reason why I'm asking that. So we'll get to that part of it. There is a perception. I don't want to speak about too. You tell me what zone I can go into. Well,
I have no.
Well, no. What I mean is, I'm not. Because I know people and I hear things and I have very fun conversations.
Okay, let me tell you, I haven't heard anything from anyone.
Okay, good.
Do you want to know the funniest part? I hope nobody watches this. The funniest part is that everyone thinks I'm working for everyone else, and I want them to think that.
Yeah, good. That's strong. So about the shortcuts. So I would say that there's an overarching view of alchemy and what an alchemist is. And you have the chemistry part of it. You brought up metallurgy. Then there's spiritual alchemy. And then even with spiritual alchemy, are there chemistry, the recipes that you can consume to accelerate, or is the spiritual side of it void of the chemistry side, and that there are no shortcuts? Make sense?
Okay, so yeah, I completely understand your question. It's an amazing question. So alchemy is already operating, like the name of it, the reason for it has within it embedded free will. And that's, you didn't say that, but you're kind of asking like, I wouldn't have used the word shortcut, but I still understand what you're saying. What you're saying is that, like, does anything need to be done, or can do it? Or is that not alchemy? And actually, I would say the opposite. I would say doing something is the alchemy. Doing something. Okay, so in alchemy, there's so many different alchemists, so they might not all agree, but I'll just speak from my own path, and with the humbleness of there might be, other people who can literally mutate and disappear from reality. And so I'm always keeping things open to that. So from my perspective and from my knowledge on alchemy, it's that we have the seeds within us, like everything. Just like how an oak tree at one point had that blueprint for it inside it, but it was small and it was a seed. So alchemy is based off of your participation, meaning your free will in its process, because what is at the core of it, like the foundation of alchemy, is saying that you have within you the latent seeds of divinity, but the process that makes it alchemy is when you do something with that. So in its most academic sense, before I go to its most spiritual sense, in academia, I'll agree with academia in this case, they say that alchemy was when you opened up those seeds and you expose them to the forces of nature so that the forces of nature can transform them into the gold. Now let's take that to the spiritual way. It's when we go along with what's already happening. Life is already happening. It's just like if like ignorance is bliss in a certain respect, but not in its wholeness. So ignorance is bliss for what? Like 5 seconds until we're suffering again. Alchemy is just pointing out the process that's already happening. You're already a part of a spiritual process, whether we want to admit that or look at it or not. That's already happening. So the alchemy is consciously going, I will go along with this process. I will go along with what the evolutionary impulse of my higher self wants. My higher self wants my will to merge with its will. That's a lot to ask. And so when we go along with that process of spiritual transformation, the universe now, it's not just psychological. Sometimes when we're in a certain phase of the transformation, we mistake it for the wholeness. And that's why I love Carl Jung. But Carl Jung was just bringing one aspect that was needed at that time of alchemy forward. And so we kind of now get bashed by academia because we go, oh, Carl Jung, made everybody think that alchemy was psychological and emotional. But actually, that's a very important part of it that the ancients addressed. They just addressed it in a different way. They didn't address it in the way that it was in this age. So there's always these different parts of alchemy, and we can accidentally get confused with that being the wholeness of it, when really it's a stage. It's one stage in a larger play, in a larger journey. And so the first stage is something that we might be, okay, yeah, I need to grow up, I get it. But then the next stage might be something in a completely different part of our growth. And the next stage until you get to a point in the alchemical journey where you're literally embodying your higher self.
Yeah, that's strong. I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you two things. One, when I read a modern philosopher, like somebody from the last 500 years to today, some modern Immanuel Kant or, whatever you mentioned, and I read their stuff, they're so respected and revered, and I go, man, this is watered down bullshit. Okay, in a serious way, because if you really look at the way the ancients dealt with all of this, they were spiritually and their conscious was way evolved, and we're trying to get back to what the ancients clearly had a grip on.
Yes.
Right. And Emmanuel, or whatever, I'm picking on Emmanuel. He's the wrong guy to pick on. Everybody loves him, but I'm frustrated with that, with the modern philosophy and the way that they try to line it up with the ancients when clearly they don't understand what the ancients understood. And so let's back up and let me explain why. I was in Egypt and I was taken to a very special secret place, and it was my birthday, and the Egyptian officials, this was all approved, and I was led by this priest and security and stuff, and we walk across, and they're taking me to what they said was an underground pharaonic lake. And we are in the middle of the desert, okay, sanded, right? And I'm like, underground pharaonic, what? Okay, I'll play along. It's my birthday, right? There's some special. So we walk, and that was the universe right there, slapping me upside my head. I was being nonchalant about it, and man, was I about to get woke up. So we walk, we go, and we come up, and the priest turns to me and he goes, "Take off your shoes. No electronic devices, no electricity, no nothing, and do not talk. No talking." I was like, okay, all right. And I kick off my sandals, and I'm barefoot. And they take me to this stairway in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the sand. It's a stairway, 100 feet, 10 stories into the desert down. Dark. And so we get to the bottom, and I have a priest behind me. He's got his hand on my shoulder. I've got my guide in front of me, whose name is Jimmy too, as well. He's in front of me. We're walking down. We go out of the heat of the desert. We go all the way down. Now, let me cut to the alchemical part of this. It was nuts. So we get down, and I hear the water. I was like, dang, there is a lake down here, but I can't see anything. It's black, but I can hear it. I can hear like waves. It was crazy. Under the Sahara Desert. And so the priest next to me lights a match, a candle, no electronics, right? But he lights his candle and he holds it out. And I see Jimmy go out into the water. I can see the water, we're 100 feet underground, and he's taking the water, he's throwing it up in the air, right? And he walks by me, comes back, and he's like knee deep in the water. He comes back and he whispers in my ear, "It's all yours." I'm like, oh shit, what am I supposed to do? Okay, I'm going to do what Jimmy did. So I got the priest holding out the candle, and I walk out knee deep in this water, and I'm throwing it in the air, and it's cool, and it was wonderful. We're in the desert. This is, I'm just loving it. And then I turn around and I'm walking up the stairs, and then it happens. Okay. This veil comes over. It's pink. I can't see. I'm in the dark, and I'm in this pink thing, and my head's spinning. I'm holding onto the wall, and I've got to somehow walk up these stairs, and I am transported, gone. And I eventually make it up to the sunlight. And when I opened up my eyes, they were closed the whole time on the stairs. I wanted to stay in this world this dimension. It was incredible. I come up and I open up my eyes, and the sunlight, va-voom, takes over my body. I am transformed. It was insane. And people were coming up to me going, dude. I was like, man, shh. Right. And so I go through this whole thing. Now that's that. I come back to LA and I call my alchemist, right? I said, hey, man, I got to tell you what happened in Egypt. I tell him the whole thing. And he goes, I'm going to stop you right there, man. That's an alchemical ceremony that you did, that the pharaohs did. Every step of what you did is part of one of our ceremonies. Going from the light to the dark to the light, with the water, with the minerals that are in the water, right? All of these things, and the chemical process, that changes in your body when you go from light to dark, the extreme temperatures, all of these things. And the priest told me before we went down there, he goes, this is where the pharaohs, he's like whispering, okay, this is where the pharaohs went to get their questions answered. And I'm like, man, a lot of pressure on me right now, right? A lot of pressure. So I went through this whole thing, and when I called my friend and told him, he explained to me the whole ceremony. Now, this is where I back up and go, how did they know these things? 4,000 years ago, they knew about the chemical processes of the brain, of the eyes, of minerals, and all. They knew light to dark and sun. They knew about melatonin, and they knew about these things. And he said, yes, man. And that's what blew my mind. And so when I talk about traditions that go back thousands of years, I experienced it on accident, right? I did all the steps in the ceremony like I was reading a book. That's what my friend said. He goes, man, you just went right down this. I haven't revealed everything that happened or what we did. I won't do that. But this was a ceremony that goes back 4,000 years. It's incredible.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I have downloaded initiations, but I mean, you had moved on about like going underground, and I never moved on. Like, you were talking and I was like, you went underground and you couldn't see, and you were like, all right, so then I'll just do the what? Like, if I couldn't see underground, that
it's
would
terrifying.
Okay, so were you terrified? Because you didn't
I was.
That sounds terrifying to me.
Trust me, when I'll send you a video of me walking up to the stairs, to the point when the priest turns around and goes, and I have to turn it off. When you see these stairs and how they descend into black, right? It's crazy. It's ancient granite stairs that just go down to a lake under the sand of the Sahara Desert.
Wow.
It was just transformative.
So water is highly, highly, highly alchemical. Now I know I'm speaking to somebody, so forgive me if I sound like I'm explaining something to you. I'm just saying it for the sake of the audience.
We have our audience too as well that's learning.
Right. So water is highly, highly alchemical. And as you were saying that you were I was like, oh, this was a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Water is how water and fire, but water is not just a purification, it's a transformation. That's why it's always linked with, Gnostics doing baptisms or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it was wonderful.
Wow, that's great to hear.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was crazy. Well, okay, here's the other part. And this is why I want to get deeper into this. We're about to hit a break. This is why I appreciate the ancients so much, because what happened to me was the universe slapping me upside the head, going, okay, time to wake up, man. Time to wake up. There's something else going on. And I just remember being so in the moment down there. And it was like a baptism, by the way, right? I'm
Yeah.
throwing the water in the air, you know, and it was ice cold water in the desert that's like, you know, 115 degrees up top. And
Wow.
we're down there in this crystal clear thing, and I absolutely baptized myself, and I could feel the heat, the energy in my body with the water on it. I could feel like it was insane. Yeah, it was really, 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 really cool. But that's only part of the story. I was just going downstairs. Back then, these stairs were built on purpose for a
Right.
reason. That's they knew what they were doing. That's crazy to me. The knowledge that they had, and we just want to just dismiss it all. Like their level of knowledge wasn't there. I would say it was much higher, much higher.
Oh, absolutely. Totally.
Yeah, let's take our break. I could keep doing this forever. Sarah, you stay right there.
Yeah.
And our guest today is seriously Alchemist. Sarah Elkhaldy is with us, and my brain right now, I'm going to get it together before we come back after the break. All right, I'm learning a lot, and so are you. Sarah, stay right there. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. And believe it or not, I'm not quite ready to go, but I am now. We'll be right back. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. I am hosting, speaking, and presenting once again the Conscious Expo, the largest conference of its type in the world. February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. Speakers, event, and schedule easy. Just visit ConsciousLifeExpo.com. I will be hosting and speaking at the Sedona Ascension Retreat, March 20th through the 22nd, 2026 in Sedona, Arizona. An amazing list of speakers, and it's beautiful Sedona. Come and hang out with us and just go to SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. I'm heading back to the Midwest for the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026, in Delavan, Wisconsin, at the Lake Resort. It is beautiful. This is a great conference right in the heart of the Midwest, where I'm from. I'll see you there. Just go to Contact Modalities Expo, that's XPO.com. I will be hosting and presenting once again at Contact in the Desert. That's May 28th through June 1st, 2026, the largest UFO conference in the world. Come and hang out with us June 23rd through July 1st. Tickets and everything else that you need is at contactinthedesert.com. Want to change your life? Want that paradigm shift? Then visit Peru with Brian Forrester and myself for the Inca Celebration of the Sun, June 23rd through July 1st, 2026. A full 10 days of visiting the country, all of the amazing sights, and of course, the celebration of the winter solstice. It's all simple to do. Go to hiddenincatours.com. Come join us for the Monty Python Scotland Tour, August 1st through the 9th, 2026. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event where you get to go to the castles from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. August 1st through the 9th, 2026. Just visit HaleyARamsey.com. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's Fade to Black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? Go to JimmyChurchRadio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut.
Jimmy Church, Gaia TV, Fade to Black, here at Machu Picchu with Brian Forster and Hidden Inca Tours. Amazing tour so far, Brian, but we're here to announce what we're going to do next year in 2026. What's going on?
Okay, November 2026, we're going to have our major tour of Peru and Bolivia, either a pre or post tour of Paracas and Nazca on the coast. And then after that, 6 days in Easter Island.
Bucket list, Easter Island. Come join Brian and I and his amazing team here at Hidden Inca Tours for Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island. Signing out. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye, gang.
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best. It's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com.
Microphone is off. Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. That's right. Yeah. River Moon Coffee. I haven't done this in a while. River Moon Coffee. Yeah, it's the best. Just go visit Amazon. Visit the Amazon store. Just punch in Fade to Black Coffee, Jimmy Church, and it'll take you right there to the store and get your own. It is truly the best, and it's what I'm drinking right now. It is the best coffee in the world. Anybody that's ever drank it, and there's a lot of you out there, and I really appreciate that, but I'll get an email. Church, you don't hype this enough. It's like, I don't have to. It speaks for itself. But honestly, do try it. Fade to Black blend. Okay, so tonight, Sarah Elkhaldy is with us. She's an alchemist, spiritual alchemist, and ascension, and all of those fun things. And I will say, and if you followed this show long enough, I certainly have transformed in the last 20 years, and meeting very special people on my journey has exposed me to things. And I started to realize, I saw this when I was a kid, Sarah, very young, 8, 9, 10 years old, that life, there's two versions of reality out there. And I chose to go find the other stuff. And I am just open to learning. That's why I go around the world and hang out with different cultures and try to get exposed to this. And I think about where I am today. I wish this experience that I've had for everybody to go through it. And so as a teacher, who is ready? And how do you start with, Alchemy 101 on the teaching journey? What are the first steps for that?
That's a great question. What I've started doing at my own alchemy retreats where I go into this stuff, because if you'll notice on my YouTube channel, like I I don't talk much about like alchemy in interviews like this, but I really, that's what my alchemy retreats are about. And I used to, for the first few years, just go, the introductory way into it. So I would start off in like a larger way before I get into the technical stuff. And that larger way, I was creating it more like a journey. So I called it the alchemical journey. And I start by showing parallels between this alchemical journey and what's already set up inside our collective mind through Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. But now within the past 2 years, so 6 alchemy retreats, I am literally just transmitting, like almost channeling stuff, and people have to just write it down. Because that's how much I love this, but also there's no way to be in an alchemical process and to have it stagnate, static like that. And so because of that, the group that I'm with specifically will be feeding me energetically where they're at. And so it helps me when I'm in that close proximity. It's also, like an intimate setting. It's not like a super large retreat. And so because of that, it's my energy field is literally attuning itself even more. And from there, sharing things that sometimes even surprise me.
And how do you, I'm going to say newbie, right?
Okay.
Like a newbie, a normie, somebody that has an open mind, right? They're there. So they're there for a reason, right? That's all part of the journey. I love the Joseph Campbell reference. That was strong. That was powerful. But I have, I've got decades of research into this subject.
Wow.
Most people, well, it's a long journey, and somebody that has an open mind and they've heard about it and they're ready for something, but they don't necessarily have the history behind them, and now they have to kind of fast track this. How do you approach that? Are you gentle with it, or do you have to be very direct?
Well, if I'm, remember how I said earlier, I said, okay, pay me to fight with you. It's the same for alchemy. If someone's paying me for the retreat, I'm not going to be mean to them. I'm going to be very gentle. And also, like, there would be no need for me to be me, there would only be, put it this way, there would only be gentleness because somebody is doing it correctly. There's so much false alchemy that people have no idea that they're participating in. And that I could literally do like an hour.
Okay, wait. I like that. What is false alchemy?
Yeah, this is such a large topic, so I don't want to only, I just want to let the audience know that I'm only bringing about, to make my point, one aspect of false alchemy, not going over all the different aspects. One of the false alchemies is when you do not pay for, it's the law of equivalent exchange. It's when you want something and you think you're going to get it by shaming the person, demanding, manipulating, distorting their, or somehow intimidating them. That I put it this way, that is such false alchemy that I won't even need to take an action because my spirit guides and the universe and the divine chemistry will sort that out. There's no demanding into the esoteric arts. There's no in throwing around your weight. And when you try to, that's called false alchemy. So
people buy into it too, don't they?
What?
False alchemy. They'll buy into it.
See, this is a large topic. False alchemy itself is such a large topic. So I was only pointing out one aspect of it to really just like the part that is, that I was speaking about, like when it comes to, kind of like maybe the ones that are most common, right? So I was speaking to the most common, where people don't even realize that they're doing something that has severe consequences because they don't understand. It's kind of like a child thinking that the universe has to obey them because they're a child. And so it's like, well, the universe is aware regardless. So it will make you grow up to that awareness. It will not bend. It will not distort itself to. And so one of the other ways is what you said right now. It's when actually somebody thinks that, well, I can pay for that. And that would be another way, a twist of events where it's now showing false alchemy, but from an opposite lens, one where they're not actually going through the process of initiation. They're not actually going through the different ways that the universe, or just whatever their path is. There's so many different paths. Whatever path is testing their integrity, is refining them. And so one of the greatest things that I did not even have to develop, it was just basic to me, was not being entitled. I've never had a sense of entitledness in my life. And a lot of times that can block a person, and they'll have to get melted down and start from square one. It's just easier if you're not entitled to begin with. That's not the end of the journey. It's just a great place to start, because then you don't have to go back later.
No, it's so true. And here's the thing with this, and it's why I love this community so much, is that people are like here tonight for this show, or at a conference, or at your retreat for deeply personal reasons, that personal reasons that they probably don't talk about, but they know. And they're stuck in chapter 1, act 1 of the hero's journey, right? And they don't know, but deeply personal reasons, and they want growth, and they want to figure things out. And suddenly that's also a vulnerable person. And there are people out there that will take advantage of that. And they, because of the sensitive moment that they're in, they think that this is also part of the journey, when that is simply not the case. If you're not around somebody that has high vibration and good intention, then you probably are in the wrong environment, and you need to go and seek somebody else out. And I'm saying very offensive things right now, but it's true.
No, I love what you're saying. It's so true. It needs to be said.
Yeah.
Because there's so much with everything, like the predator energy works both ways. It works inside somebody who is, internally increasing their power of influence, and it works the opposite way. So this energy of predator and victim really mutate into one another. And the only thing that I look for is the sure shot sign, because everything is wild, wild west out there when it comes to being able to see this. You'll see people in completely powerless positions be highly predatory, just as much as you see people in powerful positions.
That's right.
And so because of that, what I look for is like, who really enjoys being the victim, because true victims are true, but they don't enjoy it. So when you see somebody constantly being
playing
a victim,
the victim card,
yeah, in whatever respect, like I've gone through so much stuff, but I'm talking career wise. I'm not even talking about like in my personal. I've gone through so much stuff, and all I think of, the double Leo in me, is the show must go on. The audience must have this thing transmitted. Sometimes people even tell me like, you're not personal enough. And I go, look, this is for people who want to learn the stuff, not, feel better about themselves because I talk about how vulnerable I am. But this is for Sarah in the past who wants to understand stuff. So it's also knowing like, where to go for what you're looking for,
That's that what you just said, that was real ascension right there. To make that move, and that's a tough move to make on a personal journey, and looking at yourself. That's and I love that about you. But I also went through the exact same thing, and I've had so many people go, Church, you need to share the personal side of your journey. I'm like, People don't need to hear that. Why? What's the point in that? I think that the best thing that I can do, because I teach on this show, that's what I do, right? I'm here. We're all going to school together, and just show what you can be and how to be. Don't trip on the past. Don't play the victim card, and don't tie yourself to negativity. If you can start there, that's where the journey can actually begin for you, and then you can go off and figure stuff out on your own. But it took me a while to get to that point. I didn't used to be like this. I ascended.
Yeah, you ascended. Good.
I ascended.
But I did want to. So I did want to just say something, because then it'll sound out of context. Why I said I would be gentle is because if someone's paying to learn something, they're coming correctly. There'd be no need to be like, how'd you not know that? Like, they're doing that beautiful thing where they're being open and allowing things to be learned still. How much of us have closed for one reason or another? And so I find that beautiful, and it's no skin off my back, absolutely effortless. It would require work to be rude. It's effortless to be like, okay, how can I tune into them and then have it mean something for them, not me? That's what my retreats really are about. It's sometimes I'll talk about the Philosopher's Stone for hours. Sometimes I won't. It's really based off of the collective that I'm with there and their energies of what will they get the most out of, because alchemy, as you know, is such a large topic and there's only so much time in a retreat.
Yeah. I was sitting with an alchemist.
You're just so cool.
Listen, just listen. We're sitting, I can't say any more than that, but we're sitting in a restaurant. Nice place, right? We're sitting there, we're having this conversation, and he leans over to me and he goes, okay, man, there's somebody here that is 500 years old. I said, what? Right now. Let's find him. I said, what are you talking about? He said, they are around us. And that, now, so just the mention of this, makes you back up. Now you're scanning the room, right?
Yeah.
You're scanning the room. You're wondering if this is some kind of metaphor, or is this actual, does he literally mean, somebody here is 500 years old? And are these, and I said, so what are you talking about? So then he walks me through, I'm not an initiation ceremony, and he walks me through it. And he tells me about it. I went, really? All right. And it was such a new subject to me. And new information is what I mean. I've never heard this before. And then you find out, you get into things like Falconelli and
yes,
right? Mysteries
I love
of the
Falconelli.
I could do, you want to do a show on Falconelli? Let's
I would
go.
love to. Falconelli's where I get Falconelli's the source I trust the most.
Yeah.
And it's the closest to being something that a person has that then you'd have to be initiated.
Just what a dude. What a dude. He's still around. I think Falconelli.
No, for sure. Yeah.
He's at that castle in Bavaria. I was talking about.
I'm gonna go look up Falconelli Castle in Bavaria.
Oh yeah. I've said too much. That's secret stuff. But so when you jump into this and you really start to wonder how fun, how cool, and how secret and how privileged the alchemical world truly really is. It's a fascinating subject to me. Fascinating.
Oh, absolutely. I did just want to say one thing because it's going to bother me. And that's I didn't, when I said like, is there, a shortcut or something like that? Alchemy is the art of perfecting nature. That's part of like what it is. So what's inherent to alchemy is the concept that nature can only evolve you to such a degree until there's this, let's call it this critical point. And at this critical point, it now requires your conscious participation. Just like how you cannot rob a child of learning how to walk by just holding them around. They have to go through that process of falling and then developing the motor abilities to now balance and create an equilibrium and what have you. The idea of alchemy is that nature can take you so far until it's this je ne sais quoi, this higher impulse within you that then now starts through the feedback loop. I'm sorry if that's too complicated, but through the feedback loop of your higher self and you, now in this free will actions, this participation. And so sometimes predeterminism could sound very beautiful. And sometimes what it's referring to is a very automated reality.
I don't dig it.
I don't either. It's very automated. It's like, yeah, everything's already happened. Shouldn't you be happy? Everything's already happened. That's literally the idea. That is the mind of a robot. Everything's already, it's an automation, and you should just put poetry on top of it and be happy. Alchemy is the exact opposite.
It is. It is the exact opposite of that. When the hard sciences, doesn't matter, chemist, biologist, physicist, whatever it is, gets into that conversation, they are so ingrained in that thought process, which is, very simply put, atoms then, atoms now, atoms in the future are all determined by the Big Bang, and they are going to do what they are going to do. The thoughts you are having now are predetermined. You have no free will. That is their mantra.
Yeah.
That is their mantra. They live by that. It's insane to me. And just to say those things that they say is an example of free will. You have free will to say what you are saying, but they will deny that. No, I was going to say it anyway. Bullshit.
Yeah.
But isn't that crazy?
It shows you the impulses. Everything has impulses working through them. It shows you the impulses. There's so much that in a day's time, but I'm quiet. There's so much that I am clocking. I'm just quietly in my head clocking.
Right.
Because a lot of it wants your energy. A lot of it knows that you know something because it can't stand your silence even. So you're damned if you speak, you're damned if you don't, and it just can feel it. And so it wants your energy because that's the best it can do. If it can't make you see it differently, then it just wants to drain you.
Consume you. Yes.
Yeah. But there's so much in a day's time where I'm just clocking impulses.
How do you, okay, so I love where this is going. So how do you experience that first wave of ascension? And let me preload that, because that's a big ass question, I realize. But is it doing what you're saying right there? Not recognizing negative thoughts and negative energy and negative people and negative atmosphere, stepping through that, then do you start to see or feel the first wave of ascension?
That's a great question. That can be one way. I don't want to negate that way. How I perceive it is that we come to a point in our own awareness of the world where we exhaust ourselves at a mental and physical and even emotional level. That exhaustion starts to now come up with new perceptions. simply because it's so tired that it can no longer maintain fighting the outside world. So at that point, we turn inward and we go, this is a spiritual war. We have to tend to the spirit. At that point, a person is now in the first wave of ascension. Before then, they are doing beautiful work. They are aware of things and they're doing a lot of actions, like making comments, trying to get through to people that fluoride is not that good for you. They're doing things to change the outside world. So that's why they serve a purpose. Many times you'll see, I'll even say now that I'm seeing this more and more, you're seeing competition where there could be harmony, collaboration, simply because whether it's a spiritual teacher or a professor or whoever it is who has a platform, they're not understanding that it's an ecosystem that enhances synergy. So instead, they have the Watiko virus still. They have the make this person's thing look bad because I'm unworthy. So because of that, where I'm coming from is a holistic framework where everything serves something. People who have that emotional bandwidth and energy still to rage upon the machine should do so, and they're helping me. They're not against me. When I'm teaching, it should not be oppressing someone else. It should be helping those who resonate. It's not ever to demean someone else. So, and if it is, it's only because somebody's being triggered out of their programming. So sometimes I'll feel called to go really hard on something, and it's because I don't know what's going on. I'm not personally tuning in. I'm getting from the universe that this is helping the universe with some people. So to do that, because I meant to look like the villain, I meant to agitate, it's helping. So even the ecosystem is to not always be concerned with looking good. But
a wise man once said, when you're wrong, you learn. It's such a big statement. Very few words. But if you're wrong and you were corrected, or you found out the reality and the truth, that means you learned something. And it's a crazy concept. Nobody wants to be wrong. And people that say, including leaders and spiritual leaders, that I'm right and you're wrong, I look the other way. It's insane how quickly I can tune out. I want to have spirited discussion. I want a little angst.
yeah,
I want a little disagreement, because that's how I grow.
right.
And that's how they would grow.
Totally.
You can't sit around and be in agreement with somebody all day long.
Yeah,
No.
then we won't ever get seen, where we can still grow.
Now, second part of the question, the first wave of ascension. What's that like?
Yeah, so the ecosystem now has become exhausted from battling the external and starts turning within. That is when the first wave of ascension starts to really become the alchemist. They become the alchemist at that point because they start becoming manipulators, harnessers of energy. Harnessers? They start harnessing energy. They understand that they've learned so much from their path. So once again, they're wise enough to not negate. They see how that served that to get to that. And if all else failed, then something was fertilizer. So all of it went to something. But at this point, it's hard to ask people sometimes to do this, because you'll either have people who are too willing and not too willing. They're not too willing to give up their identity, which is why they usually have to enter the first wave through exhaustion. Or two, they're too eager, meaning that they wanted to somehow not learn the trials and tribulations or about the world in order to get there. But if a person genuinely has it within them to now realize that their service is being called to a higher level, to a different level, then that's the first wave of ascension, and it's massively heart-based, but that does not mean that the levels before that were not heart-based. They were just heart energy extended outward in certain ways. More, I would say, the warrior. And then when you get to the first wave of ascension, sure, you could still call it a spiritual warrior, but at that point, you're far more powerful. I would call it an alchemist at that point. If somebody resonates with that, you would need to kind of graduate from warrior into alchemist, because it's all about energy. It's all about energy. And the more people that know that it's all about energy are able to help transform a collective reality, and definitely theirs.
To be in that stage, you have to, man, I'm trying to figure out a way to say this where I don't come off as a dick. You cannot lie to yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
That did not sound mean at all. Is it?
You know what I mean? Don't bullshit yourself.
Yeah.
You have to let go. Honesty with yourself is the only way any of that is going to happen. Because if you're still lying to yourself, if you're still, if you're not being truthful, you're not being honest with yourself, then all of this is pointless.
Yeah. It's also not fun. It's not. It's
you can tell too. Have you been around somebody that's faking it? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's energy draining just to even help maintain whatever falseness they want. It'll be an orbit. It needs battery sources to confirm its falseness. So it can't even sustain itself. It can't even be false, like alone in its living room. Like, it needs to be around people. And that's the most cringe part of it. Because it's like, okay, could that be false somewhere else? But it's false, and that's why it needs others constantly. I've thought about this too, because as you know, I've grown more popular.
Yes, you have.
I've healed a lot through that, because what was once weirdness is now, hey, that girl's weird and I love it. So I've healed a lot through that, but with that has come a lot of increase in influence and power. And I've sit with myself and go, can I enjoy myself without any of this? And I go, yeah, I can. I love what I'm doing, but it's not because I need it to validate that I am an alchemist. I don't even talk about alchemy online. I go like, what would you do if you were retired to enjoy yourself?
That's exactly. Stop right there. Stop. That is some of the most important, advice, things that you can say right there. And when I explain to people, how do I do this without ego? When I try to explain to people, especially, not explain, if I could, to the critics or to this or that or whatever that look at me in my career, and if they really honestly walked a day in my shoes and saw what I take myself seriously when I'm on the air. I take myself seriously. I'm a professional when I'm on camera, or when I'm out being professional at a conference or whatever. Yes. All right. Yes. I'm that guy. The rest of the time, I'm living life without negativity. I'm away from this. I don't walk around going, man, I'm fucking Jimmy Church.
Yeah.
No, man, I'm riding around or I'm by myself. I'm not around a bunch of yes people. I'm doing my own thing, being myself. And what would I do if I was retired? I do what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I'd be doing everything. And it's so important. It's so important. And I try my best. If you teach that and you get that basic understanding in people, it's such a huge step for anybody that's on this path that wants growth. It's so important.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's the whole thing, because then it's the difference between living out life through a filter of an image of you versus getting to touch life as your essence.
Yeah. Wow. So heavy. I just popped this up. Sarah, do you have any, do you ever do a virtual class? You know, you've got wisdom teachings, you've got everything that you're doing, and you have the retreats, but do you do virtual stuff too?
No, I am currently in the process of thinking of how to expand my offerings.
Yeah.
I know Gaia Gaia asked if I have any courses they'd be happy to share it on the marketplace. So now I'm thinking I'm focusing now on what kind of courses to create online.
Yeah. You got to start with 101. You know what I mean? You got to start basic and just go through, but just be yourself. People would love it. It's so hard to find the real stuff, you know, and somebody that is on that hero's journey, they're so excited about it, and it's too easy to get trapped down the wrong road, you know, and then you have to make a U-turn. Now, I was talking about negativity earlier, and so were you, and negative thoughts. What about negative friends? Friends that are around you playing the victim card, always angry, always this, you know, this negative aura around them, pulling you into their bubble. How important is it to cut those friends loose?
I cannot even, like 100%. And it will hold back your opportunities because if you, especially what you're doing, no pressure, but so I'm trying to make it universal, not just for spiritual teachers or spiritual, you know, people, but it is a little different depending on the arena. So I'll just stick to this arena since this is what the audience, you know, the arena the audience is in. It is absolutely vital because it will even impact your dharma. It will impact your purpose. If you are entertaining people in your life that, let's call it, as you said, I won't put any twists on it. Let's say like negative people that are your friends. Okay. So just going off of negative people that are your friends, that sentence, in whatever that means to the audience, then what that's going to do is have somehow your interference of their karma. You are somehow delaying their karma. You are somehow saying, I will be in the way of this person's karma, or I will be in their karma. So whether the karma is, and I don't mean that even in a bad way, it'll just be like, oh, the karma can be beautiful sometimes. It will be like, I'm the teacher, or I'm the one that gives you a pep talk. I'm your inspiration. I'm the one that goes and gives you that, you know, positive outlook. Okay, that's fine. You know, people need friends that they can be real with. But let's say that this person has a chronic tendency. That's the only thing I'll put on top of that. The chronic tendency of being negative, and you're around them. You are now delaying your own karma by being inside their own lessons and their own, I'm doing this trying to think of a word for it, but
bubble,
sure,
bubble's a good word. Bubble.
And so it's actually very important for a person to be in a high resonance. I don't want to say perfect, because perfect, what is that? In high resonance with their company. And I don't mean resonance meaning they agree with everything that they're saying. I'm talking about if a person is being shady and you sign off on that because you've agreed that you'll still be friends, even though you could see all that shadiness and stuff like that, you're now saying, hey, universe, send me people to disrespect me. So you're now, because I clearly won't, I won't tell them that I see what they're doing. So send me more people that will disrespect me, and then I won't tell them I see what you're doing. So you're looking for people now who aren't like in resonant equivalent with you. What you're doing now is babysitting, and there will be karmic implications for that.
You're so wise, young one. You're so wise.
144, as you said that.
Yeah, right. But here, it is one of the most difficult things to do because, you know, you nurture a friendship and, you know, you come, but at some point,
I kind of look at it. I'm going to expand on your thought that you said. It's like trying to run in a swimming pool. You can't do it. The water's holding you back. That's what negative people are doing. They're pulling you back. They're keeping you from moving forward. And at some point, you're dragging this luggage around with you. You've just got to turn around and start cutting the strings on that luggage and let that Samsonite luggage go. Because now all this, how when you get out of a pool, you try to run in the pool, but then you get out and you walk and you're like, oh, shit, this is easy. Well, it's the same thing when you start to cut loose of this negative bubble that is around you. Suddenly you can move and you are free.
Oh, absolutely. And you're also now broadcasting a more healthy signal to the universe. Like, hey, universe, these are my standards. People think that standards are bad. And let me tell you something. People who love to play the victim too much, that's a warning right there. Also, people who get triggered by the term standards, because if anyone came to me and said, Sarah, I have high standards, I would never be triggered by that term. I would go, okay, people project all of these crazy things about standards when you say it, and it's all showing you they're telling on themselves. Because standards doesn't mean anything bad.
It's almost narcissistic in a way. It almost is. It's like bragging. I have high standards. Well, I don't, right?
But if somebody came up to me and said, I have high standards, I wouldn't care. I would say, good for you. Who is triggered by the term standards? I'm not triggered by the term standards. Jimmy, if you said, Sarah, I really have high standards, you would never trigger me. I would go, good for him. I'm going to wait to hear. He's probably going to explain what he means. And I would just listen to what you're talking about. Like I'll give you a context. Because
if I would have known that earlier today, I would have said to you, okay, Sarah, this show has very high standards.
And I would go, ooh, should I take my leather jacket off and put on my suede jacket?
Yeah, exactly.
So I would try to meet those whatever that meant. So there's this popular meme. It's high standards protect you from low quality experiences. This is a teaching moment. So I'm not just on a rant. I'm intentionally saying this for the audience. High standards protect you from low quality experiences. Every time I post it, I see so many people telling on themselves. They project all these things like somebody's too tight, somebody's too, and I'm like, oh, this is somebody who's triggered by the term standards. Let me tell you, there's a lot if somebody's triggered by the term standards, because that term is healthy. It doesn't mean that somebody's being avoidant, bypassing this and that. These are people that want to get through to somebody and they can't because their standards are too high. Standards are just a reflection of your self-love. Standards don't inherently mean that you are harsh. They don't mean any of that. That's our own projections. Standards just mean, hey, I can't continue to tell the universe that I'll entertain anything for the sake of anyone.
Aren't you impressed? How impressed are you with what seems to be an evolving world that we are in, where these ideas now are not taboo, or, you know what I mean? I saw a headline the other day. Somebody sent it to me about the new religion of witchcraft, how it's taking hold. Now, and so witchcraft, right? It's got this thing about it. But I think the point to that is minds are opening now, where you brought up, a material side of existence. And we kind of did that, for almost 2,000 years, where technology and values started to change, and material things were part of growth, as on your journey. And
so much was put into that. Well, we lost sight of the spiritual side of life and what is going on, consciousness and the soul and the universe, and we just lost control of that. Capitalism comes in. I get it. You know, I like nice cars. You know, I understand. Look, as I say that, is sitting in front of 50 guitars, right? So it's not like I don't. But are you impressed? How do you feel about the world going through this evolutionary process today?
I'm very impressed because I see everything as serving everything. For instance, if somebody right now is into those topics we were just talking about with needing to now cut people off, there's now, you know, narcissist coaches or awareness people or just there's a lot of free resources for wise people in fields about covert forms of manipulation. And so if somebody doesn't even want to start off in the esoteric, there's resources for personal development. Now they want to go into deeper things, and then there's resources for that too. I'm not saying all the resources are equal, you know, and anyone who talks about psychology is the same. But the point is that everything's on the table now. And I'm impressed with that. Everything's on the table now. And, you know, maybe not everything's the same level of accessibility, but there's so much exposed in this age. And I love that. When it comes to that other thing you were talking about, though, about the witchcraft and stuff like that, this is people who literally just are at square one of their spiritual journey. Square one, even if they think that they went around the block 10 times. Because remember how you said, what's the difference between the person experiencing life or the persona? You didn't say persona, but you said something like that. You could be in the spiritual or the new age, whatever. You could be in that realm forever. And if you're interacting with it still based off of you followed a trend, you haven't touched it. You haven't connected with it. There's no intimacy with it. So of course, when the tide turns, because tides will always turn, and the tide now goes down a different pipeline, the pipeline where, oh, the witchcraft, that was witchcraft. Depending on if you abused witchcraft while you were in that realm, or if you never connected with whatever spiritual, new age, whatever realm you were in, you're just going to be going down these pipelines of energy trends. Who's that dominant hive mind who has the most energy? And you're going to be pulled down that because it's safe. So it's safe to now say, oh, that's witchcraft and stuff. And I'm not even saying that it's not witchcraft. I don't even know. This is too large of a question, too vague. But my point is
same thing for me. I mean, it's just a broad term. And whoever wrote that article probably doesn't really understand what it actually means. It could mean so many different things. So
yeah, I was addressing it. Yeah, I was addressing it more like without, yeah, I forgot it was an article. I was thinking of it more from the space of it's popular to talk bad about certain movements simply because a person has now switched pipelines. And so I'm a mystic, right? But I still don't bash the new age, even though I could easily. The reason why is because of this. The new age gets linked to witchcraft, gets linked to all this stuff, right? So what you have is a lot of people who go, whoa, 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 when they were into channeled material or when they were into something that now could be implicated. And I was just like, are we sovereign or are we scared of witch hunts? When a person,
right.
When a person, yeah, like when a person is, what am I trying to say? People who turn that finger on something like, oh, I was a part of that movement and that was bad. And so because it's the energy's now turning more towards whatever it is, you know, why would I bend to that? If I don't like the new age, I'll go not like the new age. And in my private life, I'll tell someone, hey, I'm mad at the new age because of this. Yeah, it's so annoying. I won't bend the knee in public because weak people were down a pipeline and I don't want to be perceived that way. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And I also, another way for me to look at this, because I deal with this this is what I do. And I'm dealing with and hanging out with all these groups of people who are lovely. Most of them are just lovely and fun to be around. That doesn't mean that I meditate. I don't meditate. But yet I've got crystals right in front of me here in the studio that I place before each show, and I do a little ceremony with those, but I still ride a Harley. Okay, so it's not like, you know what I mean? So just do what you do. That's okay. But don't look down on somebody or a group because you don't understand. You're only complaining or saying this because you don't really understand.
Right.
And
then the person who gives into that didn't really understand either.
No, it's just, man, just accept. I remember earlier I asked you how to communicate with these different groups. How do you do that and effectively? Because they need to have communication in a way that everybody understands what they're trying to say and think, and what their goals are. But people are different types of personalities, and they're on a different path, and you have to be able to communicate. You have to understand, and so you can communicate, which is the problem that we have in this world today in a very, very broad sense. It used to be really cool to be different, and now all of a sudden being different, you're wrong if you're not like us. It's like, really, how did we get here? It's supposed to be the opposite of that, right? From many, we become one. What happened to that thought process?
Yeah. So those are the pendulum swings, but to be even more precise, that's Saturn. Oh, and Mercury. But I'll stick to Saturn for now. Saturn has this really hipster thing about it that's not well known. Even that's hipster.
Really? Okay,
yeah.
Here we go.
So Saturn's the demiurge, and so we blame Saturn, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. But then there's this other thing, more nuanced form of Saturn. And what Saturn does is, the best way I could describe this, well, the funnest way. It's not the best way. Have you ever seen the movie The Wiz?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I haven't seen it in its entirety, but I saw this really cool scene like 20 years ago, and that's what's coming to mind. They were on some sort of like ballroom, and there was all these different colors, and then somebody said through the microphone, maybe it was the Wizard of Oz, I don't know, they said the color is green or something like that, and then everyone switches their tone. So if you guys who are watching this, just look up that scene on YouTube. I'm sure they'll have a clip so you could understand, because if you see that, it'll do better than me just saying these words. So if you see what I'm saying, this scene encompasses it perfectly. So each time Saturn gets on the little high school microphone thing, and you hear it in the auditorium, and they say the color is green or whatever it is, you'll see everybody shift energy. And that's this really nuanced thing about Saturn. What it does is it throttles the lines or the boundaries in between trends. So on one hand, it'll make something that was out of trend or rebellion cool, but then at a certain point, it will then get on the microphone and say the colors, whatever. And then all of a sudden you're experiencing the karmic, which is, okay, that's why this is Saturn. It's because Saturn's the planet of karma. So then you'll feel the karma of that energy as well. And that's what's happening right now. It's always happening.
I was watching a TV series. We're going to be wrapping up here in about 30 seconds. I'm watching a TV series last night. By the way, Esperanza said, you can pick your friends and you can pick your demons, but you can't pick your friends' demons. And,
I love that.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Okay, so I'm watching this TV series last night, It's really funny. Anyway, there was this line. Only I would catch this, or you. It's a bar, a party, a company party at a bar. Guy's walking by this coworker says something, and he says to her this line. It was classic. I'm going to use it. He goes, "It's your Saturn. Don't worry about it." And he keeps walking. He walked right past her, but it was how it's your Saturn. Don't worry about it. I was like, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was so awesome. And it, probably 5 million people watched that. Nobody got it, but I got that line. It was powerful, man. It's your Saturn. Don't worry about it. Classic. All right. Where can everybody chase you down?
Yeah, so I'm really into making people aware of my mystery teaching series on Gaia right now. That's where all of my passion project is focused on. I've developed the second season and filmed it from scratch. I'm super excited about it. Other than that, you could just go to my official website, thealchemist.community. If you want to sign up for my newsletter or just find my other social medias, you could go on thealchemist.community and find me there.
Yeah. And we've got the links for that below. It's a great page, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Everything is there. Everything is there. It's thealchemist.community. Link is below. We also have it on our website and throughout social media. I look forward to hanging out with you and
likewise.
Getting you back on the show. We're neighbors, So,
yeah.
we don't really have an excuse. So
yeah, it was an honor. Thank you.
You're the absolute very best, Sarah. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you for being here to help us celebrate our 12th anniversary.
Yeah,
and
congrats.
I was very excited about tonight's show, and it was all of that and much more. We should, though. I'm going to go on the record right now. I'll reach out to Michelle. We absolutely 100% should do a Falconelli show.
Oh, I would love to.
From beginning to end, right? 2 hours of Falconelli.
That would be so cool.
The life, the man, the legend. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just putting it out there to the universe right now. We'll get that set up. Thank you so much, Sarah. Perfect night on the show.
Thank you. Bye.
Perfect. Absolutely divine. Perfect show. And Sarah Elkhaldy. Wow. Okay. So her links are below. It is the alchemist.community. The links are below. Take you right there. Take you to the TV series. Also her live events and her social media. It's all right there. Go and check it out. So with that will wrap the live guest portion of this week here on Fade to Black as we celebrate our 12th anniversary. Tomorrow night is our 12th anniversary special. Our guest is me and you. It is going to be a Fade or Not hangout tomorrow night, and we're just going to kick back and celebrate 12 years in the can. On Friday, we head into year 13. So everybody enjoy your evening. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. But for now, all I've got is Go Beckley Tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go Beckley Tappy.